Hi, welcome to Postcards from the Hedge. I'm Chris and I'm creating this series of podcasts mostly for my students but also for anyone else that wants to listen about the joy of following the seasons around you in your local hedgerows and learning about the wild plants and wildflowers that grow all around you. I'm doing this because I think there's no greater way to understand your ecology and the environment than through actually getting out there and observing things for yourself firsthand. So today I wanted to introduce you to my friend, wild garlic, which is growing in absolute profusion down here in this little footpath. So we can see here these leaves here. Now the smell is absolutely amazing because, as its name suggests, it is a form of wild garlic. Its Latin name is Allium ursinum, so it's a member of the onion family, and it smells just fantastic. You walk past it, and if you brush past it, you'll get a fantastic waft of garlic coming up. And it's also great in salads, really tasty. Taste of garlic. Its Latin name, as I said, is Allium ursinum, which actually, if you break it down, Ursula is the bear. Another name for wild garlic is bear's ransom. I don't know where the ransom comes from, but the bear comes from the ursinum thing. Personally, I've got a little theory that it's named bear's ransom because in the olden days when we had bears running around, or in the countries where you do have bears running around, it would have been a fantastic food source after they came out of hibernation. Who knows? That's just a theory of mine. But it's a woodland plant, or a woodland edge plant, but you only get it at this time of year because there's enough sunlight because the leaves haven't come out in the trees yet. But you do get it in so it's like it likes partial shade. It's one of those partial shade plants. So you get it in shady places, but it does need a bit of sunlight to make it get going. But the thing you've got to watch out for, yes, it's fantastic to eat, and you can gather it up, pick the odd leaf here and there, and go through and get enough to make a lovely wild garlic pesto or something like that. But there's a couple of plants you've got to watch out for that grow right up alongside it. So for instance, right here we have what's known as lords and ladies, or cuckoo pint is another name for it as well. So it's actually it's named lords and ladies because slightly later on, when it starts flowering, it's got a flower with a bract around it that it looks slightly anatomical, shall we say, lords and ladies. Latin name Arum maculatum. But the thing is with this is it's toxic and it's a skin irritant. It's okay for a bit like that, but I wouldn't eat it. You wouldn't want to gather it up accidentally with your wild garlic and eat it. So we can see the difference is quite pronounced when you look in close. Wild garlic is just this long sort of singular colour green leaf, and this is quite a different shape, and it's got these deep veins and it's got this kind of heart shape, but when it's young you can't really see the heart thing, and it looks a little bit more like wild garlic, and because it grows right alongside it, you're quite likely to gather it up with it. So be careful not to do that. It is poisonous. You can dry it out, pick the roots, dry them out, and make a kind of it's apparently quite nutritious, and you can it has a previous folk name of starchwort, because you can actually create starch for corn flour, for like putting in your cooking from the roots, but I wouldn't bother personally because the preparation itself is toxic when you're doing the preparing. So I would just avoid it. Then also we've got another plant here, another toxic plant that you want to avoid as well. See this one here? Dog's mercury. Now, as far as I'm aware, dog's mercury hasn't got any, you can't eat it or prepare it or anything like that, but it's got these tiny little flowers here. It looks quite different again, but it grows right up alongside wild garlic, so you could easily end up gathering that up at the same time. So you don't want to do that. In a few weeks' time, this whole area is going to be awash with a mass of wildflowers as this wild garlic comes into flower. It's got this cluster of little white flowers that sticks up in a spike, and it really just, this particular footpath at that time of year is just absolutely beautiful. So look out for that. But right now I'm just pointing it out because most plants are usually less bitter before they go into flower. So it's why now is a really good time to pick it if you're going to eat it. That's wild garlic. If you are going to pick some, make sure that you don't clear like a whole area in once. You just randomly walk along and pick the odd leaf here and there. If you're going to pick it and eat it straight away, don't pick it from down below the dog wee line, as I call it. Pick it up nice and high, or just pick it and take it home and wash it. So I hope you've enjoyed this post. For me personally, it's been as always, it's wonderful to get out into nature and just get that sense of connection. In this time of self-isolation, I think that's really important for all of us. One more thing, if you're out on your daily walk, please observe government guidelines on safe social distancing. And if you're going to go for any gates, maybe use a disposable paper towel so that you're not actually touching the gate latches. And of course, if you're out walking through a farmer's field, keep your dog on a lead because it's lambing time.